Hi and welcome back to the latest edition of the New Zealand Property Podcast and Video Series. Of course, kindly sponsored by Harcourts Property Ventures here at Alexandra Park. Today I've got two guests, which is unusual for me, Dan and Sam from Hougarden, and it's the last of our series of marketing people that real estate agents should be using for your property when you go to list it. So first of all, Sam and Dan, let's tell your two roles. You better start first of your role at Hougarden and who you are.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. So my name is Sam Yin. I'm the founder of Hougarden, which is Hougarden is a property portal based in New Zealand. Basically, we work very closely with all the agents to promote their listings to the local Chinese community. So I started Hougarden back to the year 2011. So at that time, there's after the 2008 financial crisis, there's a big wave of immigration coming from Hong Kong, Taiwan, China, mainland. So I just noticed there's a gap, for local Chinese, for the new immigrant to have better understanding about the New Zealand property market. So that's why I started Hougarden. So in the last probably 14 years, I'm still carry on doing the operation of Hougarden. And last year, we also extend our business model to Australia. It's a very we are very, very unique market, but a very my background is IT, and I'm in the business. I'm more like doing all the IT part and product manager. Yeah.
Okay, I'll get to you soon there, Sam. But Dan, just and with you, you said you went to Australia last year, was it? Australia?
Yeah, yes.
And you just been doing the same thing you're doing in New Zealand, but over in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a very similar business model, but we just started in Australia. Most of our focus is still in New Zealand.
Yeah.
I think particularly there's a large number of the local Chinese community based in Auckland.
Right.
So for some of the suburb, even like Albany Heights, or even Pine Hill, Ramira, Epsom, some of the percentage of the Chinese community even more than 30-40%. We just noticed like a lot of Chinese people speak Chinese, read the Chinese newspaper, visiting the Chinese website. So Hougarden have a way also very connection to the social media. Really can work very closely with agents to reach to helping them to reach a lot of Chinese potential buyers and vendors. Yeah.
Great. Oh, that's fantastic, and well done. You have a business going 14 years later and going stronger. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And Sam, what's your Dan? Sorry, what's your sort of role in this organisation?
Yeah, so it's pretty a bit of everything, but I always like to keep busy and with the team, and obviously the team environment's very good, and we all get along, and everything goes quite well. So my role is sort of sales manager, sort of business development. Across both New Zealand and Australia. Recently, I've sort of just gone back into the sales role, helping out the Harcourts brand, just to try, get that building up there, and working with them quite closely, the agents overall across all of the country, which we're excited. But sort of my background is predominantly sales, but I started my career doing computer forensics, and then sort of moved into hospitality. Yeah, sales, account management, did a bit of fumigation at the ports as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I like to keep busy, and it's pumping along, so it's good.
Oh, that's good. Well, you must be the best of all the people, Sam, all the people you've hired at Hougarden. Dan must be the best because you sent him to the best company, Harcourts, of course. So there you go.
Yeah, Dan has got a very passionate about the whole industry, and is a perfect role for work in our business. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's pretty obvious, this question, I guess, but I'll still talk about it. The differences between yours and the main marketing portals that we have in New Zealand.
So I think I'll talk a little bit to this, and then maybe Sam can try chip in there. But I'm just thinking. So predominantly the main difference is the targeting the Asian community. A lot of the agents think that, obviously, Hougarden equals sort of the Chinese, but we've moved towards the sort of, overall Asian market where we're sort of, broadcasting our properties and platforms around the entire country. We've got 17 different languages that the user can actually select from. So, our main focus is still the Chinese market and the users, and that gets translated by our team in China. A lot of the other technology with the translations is through AI, and it's a very good thing. And I can see the reports and the data, and there's a bit of traction with all the other languages that are getting selected, which is very exciting. So yeah, targeting the Asian market throughout New Zealand and Australia market as well. So yeah, good things are happening and good growth are happening as well within the business.
And how many people, if you know the answers, to Chinese people out of New Zealand and compared with in New Zealand are looking at Hougarden at the site?
Oh yeah. So we use the GA, Google Analytics to track all the traffic.
Yep.
So basically, about 75% of our traffic are all coming from local New Zealand. And now because we are operating in Australia now, about 10% coming from Australian, but also the other 10% is mainly from Taiwan, Hong Kong, China mainland. Since the government in the year 2000, actually before the 2019, we got more traffic from local, from China mainland, because at that time with the China, the overseas buyer can purchase property in New Zealand, and then we spend a lot of time on the SEO, so that when the people in China using Baidu search about New Zealand property immigration, our website always showing number 1. So that's drive a lot of traffic. We used to have almost like 40% of all our traffic coming from mainland China. But after the 2019, it's not anymore. So now we had most of our traffic still coming from local New Zealand. Actually, and mainly in Auckland and Christchurch and Hamilton. That's where the local Chinese people in New Zealand. Yeah.
You've been through a lot of changes, obviously, in those 14 years from, as I say, with government policies, and you've gone with the flow, and you've had to do what you've had to do, I guess. But I guess the big thing is that the population of New Zealand's growing, and the Chinese population's grown immensely, especially around, as I say, the middle of Auckland. I know Epsom, where we are here, 51.5% of people in Epsom identify as Chinese. So it's a pretty important part to play, I guess, in the in many parts of Auckland and New Zealand. And I guess it's up to, we'll talk soon about why vendors do and don't do, but it's something we've got to take in consideration of where the house that's selling is actually, I guess. So so on that then, so why should people spend money on Hougarden instead of the other marketing, or maybe as well as the other marketing? Because the trouble for a lot of people listening to this, the vendors, they're going, geez, there's four damn well people, different marketing people, they all want a bit of our money, and they all say they have these ones that the other ones don't have. So and it's hard, and of course some people have a budget, some don't have a budget. But so you tell us, and you guys, why we should be spending money on you guys.
So I mean, I did a bit of background in the marketing, and I totally understand that the best thing is to spread that marketing cost around, but be smart on how to actually do that. I'm big advocate of putting the vendor paid marketing into all avenues and all platforms, because you never know where that buyer is going to come from. The difference with us is that majority of our users are the Asian market, which is very very prominent in the Auckland area, as well as nationally around New Zealand. There are Chinese buyers looking at property, vineyards, rural lifestyle properties, Queenstown, any sort of property that might actually appeal to them, or maybe the family back in China to say, hey, look what I've just purchased in New Zealand. So we've got marketing packages across the entire country, based on our sort of users and projections and stuff like that. So Hougarden, definitely want to get seen, because like all the packages and like all the other platforms, with no promotion, yes, you get seen maybe for a couple of days, and then sort of just drops off. So with any of our packages, that'll get the uplift, it'll get promoted, you get seen, and you get more views and more sort of exposure. And depending on what package you go for, we've got different products that we go to, which I can talk a little bit later on as well.
In fact, we might get right into that now in a way. One thing we users out there know, and I assume it's everyone, not just us, that we list something, we'll get a free listing on Hougarden in English, so it hasn't been translated. Now that's all fine, but the idea of using Hougarden is to get out to Chinese people, and a lot of Chinese people, like a lot of people from overseas, don't speak speak English or write English sort of thing. So that's obviously one thing, but it's for me. I go, well, it's worth nothing. You've got to at least translate it into Mandarin or all those other 17 languages.
Yeah.
So I guess if you talk a bit about that, and then maybe talk about the packages, because I don't know myself if it's worth just doing the cheapest package available when you translate it, or should you go the whole hog? So maybe you can spend a bit of time just talk about the options, because it's really important for people
that's the key
listening.
thing, that's our big point of difference is the translation thing. So we started so Sam started the company and the understanding that, hey, look, if you want to promote your listing, one of the packages will get that translation with our team in China, manually going through that description to make sure there's key points that actually resonate with the user. Because if the user can't read English at all, yes, they can do copy and paste the translation, but not straight off the cuff, because generally it's the technology isn't quite strong. They'll want to see that description in Chinese. So we go through that, we look at all that, and that's something that appeals to them. They look at the things like, for example, for the school zones, that's the key number one factor for the Chinese community, as well as also the type of property and that sort of thing. And then they'll either just show up to the open home or engage in an inquiry and contact that bank. You definitely want to get exposed with one of the packages. As I mentioned, the difference between all of our packages, starting off at 149, we go right up to 899, and we're sort of just adding those products in. That's going to increase the exposure overall. So the next package that we've got is sort of the social media, where we start off sort of meta, targeting the Chinese language, as well as also sort of the Western language as well. So there are a lot of comments and a lot of interest from either Kiwi buyers, local people living in the country as well, wanting to worry about price and what's going to appeal. And I check all those comments and messages every morning. If there is a lead, I'll send that out to the agent directly and comment them into that things there. The next sort of package up is when we integrate the Chinese social media, which is huge. Every single Chinese user in the world uses WeChat. So I guess the communication base, if agents are watching this or listening to this, I would definitely recommend download WeChat and have that as your communication tool. I'm sure Mark will leave my contacts sort of at the bottom of the podcast there, the contacts. And yeah, even the users wise, you can sort of have that communication wise as well. So that boost package is our most popular package, and that's priced at $499 for the Auckland region. There is a different pricing structure for around the rest of the country outside of Auckland, as well as also Australia as well. And then very excited about our high-end package, which is the ultimate package. One of the key products that we've got there, which is really cool, is the video aspect of it. What we do with that particular product is we utilizes the photos and the videos of the agent's listing. We showcase your product, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, of the actual photos and videos of the actual property, talking about the importance of the key suburbs around that area. So there's key insights, not necessarily just the description, but it's actually key insights about the area on how it might appeal to the Chinese community. We integrate that, we turn that into the Chinese voiceover language, as well as also the Chinese subtitles as well. Once we're completed with that, we then publish that to WeChat and Xiaohongshu, which is another Chinese social media platform, very similar to Instagram, where you're sort of scrolling to sort of different algorithms and properties and cars and things. But yeah, WeChat is the main tool there that we definitely publish that. Now we've got our own official account as well, where we publish articles available with that boost package upwards, and banners to actually really showcase that property to make sure that it'll appeal to the Chinese community.
Oh, that's really enlightening. The last the super boost package.
Yeah.
How much is that roughly, just for Auckland?
So the ultimate package, that's $899, and that's just jam packed of products. So we want that to be of value to the vendors and to the agents to see, make sure that, hey, am I getting the right exposure here? Where do I get my exposure? What are the products? So we've got the Google ads that we publish onto the ultimate package. as mentioned before, the Meta, Facebook, Instagram, the Xiaohongshu video and WeChat video that goes into those sort of 2 social media platforms, as well as also the exposure on our site as well. So increased exposure, banners popping up, your search card is at the top of the search ranking to make sure it doesn't get fallen off, and that's also a 6-week campaign, and we can always work out and see, to add that, extend that for different properties. Yeah.
So it's a 6-week. And what about the budget? The boost to $4.99. How many weeks is that?
That's a 6-week campaign as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're very lenient with that one there. We understand that for the likes of sort of properties that might take a little bit longer to sell, we'll sort of negotiate with the agent to say, hey, look, we can potentially do this as a sort of help you out with that. We're always willing to help.
And I think I'm right in saying some people. So we're actually quite surprised we get vendors sometimes, and they'll say, "Oh, my 6 weeks is up. Do I have to pay for the advertising again to get back on?" And no, the answer is it will stay on there. It just won't be boosted back to the front of the page, sort of thing. So I think I'm right in saying that. That's the same with all the
key thing as well is that if it does fall off that 6-week or 4-week campaign, the translation remains. We're not taking off that translation. It's sort of just that the listing goes sort of to the next tier of search ranking above the ones that are currently on that ranking. But we've Sam's designed it in a way that it's going to still increase exposure and continue to get exposure, no matter what package we're actually choosing. So,
actually, Dan and I, we are not here to to over value the Chinese market, but in the last 14 years, we just noticed the Chinese buyer and the Chinese vendor are very key part of the market. A lot of local Chinese are actually involved with the whole industry, with the developer. And when we're looking at all our visitors, we just set up the profile. First home buyer, owner occupied, people looking for, particularly good school zone, looking for the property, have for their kids and families, and also a lot of Chinese people involved with investing and subdivision of the bigger section and build up the new properties. So we found it really like a good ecosystems, in the local Chinese community. And Hougarden has been on the market for 14 years.
Yeah.
And if you ask any local Chinese about the New Zealand property or what property they have used when they buy a home, I think you got a very good positive answer about Hougarden. Our feature has been designed and developed, really targeting to those Chinese buyer.
Yes.
Sometimes we also looking at all the profile for the Kiwi buyer and the Chinese buyer. Sometimes they are very different. Like a lot of Chinese family, they particularly targeting to the school. For their families, they're looking for the value about the potential growth, and also they prefer in a better section, better school zone, better community. So that's why if you're looking at North Shore, Albany Heights, Pine Hill, that area, the strong Chinese community there, Christian school, in private school, and also Central Auckland, Ramira, Epsom, Greenland, that's a very strong Chinese community too. But also a lot of Chinese people invest into the south and the west of Auckland, to have to involved with the subdivision, the section to build a new house. So the Hougarden really can be a very good marketing channel. If you want to if the vendor want to sell the property, helping them to reach more Chinese potential, the potential Chinese buyers. And also we are also very good. We are also integrate with Chinese social media very closely as well, which is other portal they don't have that ability, to do all the Chinese video promotion in the WeChat and the Xiaohongshu, which is we are like very close setup account, almost like about 100,000 people followed us on our social media account. Right. So that's a very, very strong community base where we operate, really working for your best interest to promoting your listings to the Chinese community.
Yeah. Great. That would be a great way to wrap it up, because you've wrapped up the whole thing beautifully there. But I've got one more, just a comment, I guess, and a question. What I like about your packages, in fact, these 3 packages are all quite distinctly different. What you're getting for them. If you want to do the cheaper, I'm not sure what it is, 149 or whatever it is, it's you'll get it translated and you'll get some exposure on your site, which is great. And as you said, 100,000 people looking at different. I forget what that was. 100,000
social media
followers.
Followers. Yeah.
So if there's that many there, that is going to be on the website sort of thing, and then your the boost one is a great package also. It gets you on WeChat and gets you on those social media ones, which is so important.
That's our most popular package, the boost package.
I imagine it is, but then of course the $8.99, which is still under 1,000, and that's as I say, that does offer a heap more again. So that's pretty good. The question for you is, you know the answer at all, because you don't always know who your clients are that are paying for their packages. Is the Chinese people when they list, do they use Hougarden a lot? Because I know it's sometimes a battle for New Zealanders wanting to spend money on Hougarden because it's another marketing tool. Do you know if there is you probably won't know the ratio, but there's if a Chinese person's listing, are they more likely to use Hougarden?
Yeah, actually, we had almost like 5,000 Chinese vendors claim their property on Hougarden. So in that case, we're sending the regular update and the insight into them. So there's a good engagement with a lot of Chinese vendors. But back to the question regarding to which is, I think that a lot of Chinese family using Hougarden if they believe the location have a lot of interest from Chinese. But so that's why we are very strong in the North Shore, actually in Auckland, because of a lot of property has been listed on Hougarden. We had almost like 30 to 40% of conversion. So every 100 listings in Auckland, 30 to about 40 listings using Hougarden to promote. And then we generate almost like 20,000 email inquiries per month.
Wow.
So that's on good. Average about 500, 400 to 500 per day to generate that inquiries to the directly to the agent. We also have the tool which is to helping the agent to have better understanding about the local Chinese market. Which is we when the Chinese they just choose the English the Chinese question, and then when we send to the agent is the English translation. So but I think if you ask any Chinese families if they want to sell the property, it depending on what they believe. Sometimes if in the maybe south of Auckland, but actually a lot of Chinese investors also looking for that area as well. So.
Because even some people like down in Invercargill might think, there's not many Chinese people down there, but there's a whole lot of people in Auckland, including Chinese, that buy investment property down there because the price is right, and buy these big blocks of flats and stuff, down there. So
and we work with a lot of agents that are down the lines, the likes of Invercargill, Christchurch, Waikato, with those lifestyle properties. The Chinese are interested. There is a small but large pool of Chinese that are interested in those type of properties, premium properties, beachside properties, and so we work with that. But the key thing is that you definitely want to go for that $499 boost package or that ultimate package to really drive out the audience, because that audience might be in Auckland, and predominantly the users are in Auckland seeing those properties and searching for those properties. So I'm working with a few at the moment in Wellington and Christchurch at the moment, and they seem to be getting some really good results.
Oh, that's great. And as I said, the last couple of weeks is not here to save your money, we're here to make your money, and just by spending, especially the three packages are quite different, and your top packages offers so much. That's a pretty good investment of money if you're in one of those areas, or as you said, you still got to remember where the buyers are coming from.
100%. That's important.
Well, it's been a great chat. Have you guys got anything else you want to say before we wrap it up today? You've covered it very, very well.
No, I think the whole role of sort of my role at the moment is sort of just that education piece on Hougarden. That if the vendors or agents that aren't quite sure about Hougarden and how to sort of target the Chinese market, just reach out to myself, Sam. Mark can pass on the details, or you can see the details in the podcast here. We're always happy to have a chat or come see you to discuss, how should I market my property, and sort of the best ways on, doing that, because it's very important, the Chinese market in New Zealand.
Absolutely, you want to include the whole market, not a little bit of the market. So on the whole market, get the whole market. So
that's right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, chaps, coming in today and having a chat. It's been very insightful for myself, even. So I'm sure it has been for quite a few people on this podcast video as well.
Thanks very
much. So thanks for your time, awesome. And we'll see you watching this next week, and with another New Zealander. Usually only one, so I'll probably say New Zealander. So thanks, guys.
Yeah,
See you
awesome.
later.
Cool. Thanks, guys. See ya.